Makes me want to get high.
It is Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. Here with my little brother Marcus in Yosemite National Park for his first backpacking trip. Our plan for the day is to hike to the Happy Isles trailhead here, get as far as we can toward Merced Lake. We're hoping we can actually make it to the lake, but they're calling for winter weather to come in the next couple days, so we've got some cold weather gear. We're planning to be flexible. May have to bail out if the weather gets really bad, but I think it's going to be a pretty good adventure. How you feeling?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right.
If you're ever planning to come to Yosemite and you think you're in pretty good shape, you're not. You'll meet people along the way that you think you could probably outwalk or outrun because they're senior citizens. And yeah, they'll outdo you very easily. Yeah, and you'll feel pretty bad about yourself. Not many easy days, easy minutes. I had a couple easy seconds where we stopped. That was about it. The trees are huge. The mountains are huge, and you can't describe how different planet everything looks from the southeast.
How does it compare to what you expected coming out here?
Everything's so much bigger. Dude, the mountains are so much bigger. And the views are like so much farther. Yeah, like indescribably different, really.
What do you think you're going to get out of the remainder of this trip?
Probably more mind-blowing stuff that it's going to be so hard for me to describe, hopefully.
All right, it's a little bit after 5:30 p.m. We're about 10 miles in or so. We made it to the backpackers campground and decided we wanted to try to press on toward Merced Lake. We're around 3.5 miles shy of the lake, and I think probably in the next half hour we're going to start looking for a place to camp. I was really hopeful we'd be able to cover some good ground and make it to the lake today. That's part of why I haven't filmed as much as I normally would, but it looks like we're going to fall a little bit short of that. Depending on the conditions in the morning, we may try to get up and hike down to the lake before we start hiking back out. They're calling for some snowfall at high elevations starting between 5 and 7 a.m. We're kind of on the cusp of high elevation here, so it could be light rain, it could be snow coming down. We're going to play that by ear in the morning. There's a little bit of snow on trail.
You're feasting your eyes upon a pretty good view
right now, but it's nothing compared to that.
All right, it's currently about 7:45 p.m. We got to camp about 15-20 minutes ago, probably between 2.5 miles shy of Merced Lake. How you feeling about today?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done, by far. By far.
What was your favorite part about today's hike?
Probably once we got pretty close to the top and the sun started hitting us and we were close to the river, and like this kind of was like really rejuvenating after some pretty hard inclines.
Yeah. One of my favorite sections of trail I've hiked anywhere. I didn't stop to get as much footage as I wanted, but I've got video from 2020 and 2021 hiking this same stretch of canyon along the Merced River. This is one of my favorite stretches of trail I've hiked anywhere. When we were trying to figure out our options for where we wanted to go on this trip, we talked about Merced Lake, and that kind of appealed to him, and I was pretty excited to come back out here. Even hiking this for the third time, the views are amazing, and even when the day gets kind of tough going, it really gives you a second, third, fourth wind just how awesome the scenery is out here. We're not sure what the plan is for tomorrow. They're calling for winter weather. We don't know if it's going to come in light or heavy. Still thinking in the morning I'd like to make that couple mile trek to Merced Lake and then head back toward Little Yosemite Valley. We'll see how that plays out. What was your least favorite part about today?
Probably trying to find camp after it started getting dark, because that was kind of scary. I didn't end up wanting to walk in the darkness. But that, or like some of those curling inclines where you just see it wind up the mountain 5 or 6 times, and yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, switchbacks are not for the faint of heart. This is probably going to be it for day number 1. We're close to running out of daylight. We're going to try to finish getting camp set up and get some food in us.
Yes.
Hopefully I can give you a better recap of today in the morning, and hopefully we get some cool shots in the morning. It's not just nasty all day. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Good morning. We've made it to day number 2. We got a little bit of snow coming down out here in Yosemite. We woke up around 6, went ahead and got camp tore down, most everything packed up before we started making breakfast. Didn't really come down on us through the night, so nothing got wet. Our plan for today is to hike back toward the backpackers camp, Little Yosemite Valley. Hopefully I'll get enough cell service to get an update on what the weather's calling for, and if it's looking like it's gonna clear up some, we'll stay there for the night. If it's looking like it's gonna turn nasty, we'll hike back to the car. Want to talk a little bit more about yesterday and why we didn't make it as far as we wanted to. It is a challenging hike. This time of the year, the trail crew has not been in here to clear out down trees, washouts and things of that nature. And if you come, you know, anytime before about mid-May, I think is when those guys usually try to get out here. You never know what you're going to run into. And there's no one specific down tree that's a huge obstacle, but when you cross 25, 30 of them a day, flooded sections of trails, you lose 5 minutes here and there, and that easily adds up to an hour or 2 of daylight you've lost by the time you're looking for camp. If I get a chance, I'll try to film some today. If it starts coming down real heavy, we may not get a whole lot.
We'll be walking in a winter wonderland.
Yes, we will.
In the Yosemite wilderness.
It's around 1:15. We're here at the Backpackers Campground at Little Yosemite Valley. Kind of took shelter up here in the pit toilets for a little bit. It's coming down on us pretty heavy for a while. It's let up. We can sort of find some spots in the trees where there's pretty good coverage from the snow and could probably set the tents up, but I got enough cell service to do a weather check, and it's not going to get any better the next day or two. So we're going to go ahead and hike out the last 4 miles and some change to the car. It's pretty cold, pretty wet, uncomfortable hiking, but not miserable. Awesome experience though. Like seeing Yosemite in the snow like this is, don't know if I would have opted to do it on purpose, but I'm pretty stoked we got to see this. Anything you'd like to add about today?
If you're doing this, get some really good warm thermal socks.
Yeah, we've been hiking in cold, wet feet for the last couple hours. Marcus has been doing extremely well. His first backpacking trip, we didn't go somewhere in the summer where the trails were nice and flat and easy. We decided to come to Yosemite in April and not get scared when they're calling for a winter storm alert. I blame Marcus for that. He's been listening to a lot of David Goggins lately and just jacked up to do everything all the time. So he's the reason we're in this mess.
I will take full blame. Maybe. If they did think that, kind of thought we started at Backpackers Camp. If they are going to get the most views, and all the comments like, oh my god, your brother's so cool. And it's, do you remember that all that snowfall being there?
It is now Friday morning, probably around 9 a.m. So yesterday we trucked the full 12 miles back to the car. Didn't really get a chance to record an outro video. We hauled on over to Curry Village to get some hot food and get in where it was warm for a little while. The second half of yesterday was really cold, really wet. We actually ended up not even setting up camping gear. We just bundled up in sleeping bags and slept in the car last night. Pretty much nothing on this trip went the way we had planned it. We found out literally a few days before that wet weather was coming in, and then that turned into a winter storm warning. We didn't get a chance to talk to anybody, as far as anybody at the wilderness office, about what trail conditions might even be like prior to the winter storm warning. Usually that's the case. They didn't even have the wilderness permit office open or any park rangers we could talk to. It was a self-serve, fill out a piece of paper yourself and you're on your way kind of thing. Not a bit of this trip I regret, really. I mean, we experienced rain, snow, sunshine, got to see a lot of cool features under a lot of different conditions. It wasn't a easy first time hike for Marcus by any means, and he stuck it through pretty well. I mean, we had 2 tough days for completely different reasons back to back, and he handled it like a champ. If we wanted excitement and adventure and challenge, we certainly found it.
Yes.
I was kind of on the fence about should we have hiked out a day earlier, should we have done this different or that different. I don't know if I would have done anything different, to be honest. I think if we'd have hiked in a day earlier, we would have probably made it further out, but it would have been a lot sketchier on the hike back out yesterday. following the Merced River to and from the Merced Lake area, there's some rocky switchbacks that had a lot of snowdrift remaining on them. And it was really sketchy getting around that. And then through some of the forest, there were some downed trees and stuff we had to get off trail for. With an inch of snow on the ground, it was hard to follow the trail and find it. We actually lost the trail a little bit. Had we let more snow accumulate, I think that would have not been a good situation coming back through there. So I feel like we made the right call all around. We got to hang out in the valley and just kind of take it easy the first day we were here, driving around, seeing the sights. Every time I've been here, I feel like I've neglected the opportunity to do that. So I'm glad we got a chance to. Anything you'd like to add?
Just that it was probably the hardest physical challenge I've faced yet, but I would definitely do it again. And I'm glad the weather kind of did its thing, because it was kind of like two totally different landscapes and hikes in one. So that was pretty awesome.
So this was your first backpacking trip. You think it'll be your last?
No, I'll do it again. I think I'm more prepared for how hard it's going to be. So for that reason, I think I'll kind of be more likely to pace myself differently and be better off with some of the harder parts of it. I think I'll hit it with a stronger attitude and stuff.
How did the physically and mentally challenging aspect of it compare to what you thought it would be before we got here?
Physically, I thought it pretty good. I thought I would tire out a lot quicker. I mean, having somebody that's experienced in front of you, kind of keeping you moving, that helped a lot. Like, kind of seeing you keep trekking made me keep moving forward at a good pace. I think without that, I'd have done it a lot slower. So that was nice to have. But mentally, it gets pretty tough, especially when snow starts falling and you're in just complete whiteness. You got miles ahead of you and your feet are cold and your hands are cold. But once you get through it, it's easy to be really proud of yourself. So that was nice. You can push yourself further than you think you can. Being outdoors and experiencing something like this kind of makes you reflect on some of the other challenges you've had, and they don't seem as big, and it kind of makes you want to go out and do other things. Kind of motivates you to be more productive in some of the harder things you face.
Yeah, I feel like coming out here, especially when you have a tough hike, and really when it's a tough and rewarding hike, yeah, there's always a little bit of, you get back to day-to-day life and things that used to challenge you. I feel like they get the volume turned down pretty substantially compared to how you're used to viewing them. I'm really stoked my brother was able to come out here and do this with me. We've been talking about it for a couple years. We live like 4 or 5 hours apart, and we both have busy schedules, and we're always talking about wanting to come out and do stuff like this. And it's really hard to work out a time when we're both able to, fly across the country and set aside a full week to come out and do something. And I'm excited we were able to make it happen. Like I said, we've been talking about this forever, it seems like. And I'm really happy that it was the experience that it was. Both when it was warm and sunny and the hike was easy and the views are just amazing. And, even when it got snowy, sometimes the scenery is really cool. Sometimes visibility is so low, you barely see the giant mountains that are all around you. I know I'll remember this, and even having hiked part of this trail before, I feel like this is the trip that's really going to stand out.
If you've ever thought about coming out here and just haven't quite found the time or being able to quite save up enough to come out and do it, I would definitely recommend scraping up what you can and coming out, just taking the trip. It was so much more mind-blowing and breathtaking than I imagined, and I would absolutely do it again. And it was awesome. I can't even describe how beyond what I expected it was.
Agreed, 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. This is going to be the end of the trip. See you guys next time.
Stay hard.